Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest supporting BIPOC and queer individuals by turning life's changes into opportunities of growth, clarity, and success. None other than Miss Zipporah Jarmon.
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm very excited for our chat.
Welcome, Miss Zipporah on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, my name is Zipporah Jarmon. I am a self development coach. I work with BIPOC and queer people, and I just help people bridge the gap between their present life and the future person they want to become.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Zipporah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And today let's talk about how can a polyamory coach help understand your dating habits.
Yes.
So, beyond just managing multiple partners, how does a polyamory coach help someone uncover why behind their dating partners, like why they are drawn to a certain partners or repeat the same relationship dynamics?
Yes. That's a great question. So to get started, I always like to talk about what a coach is and how coaches help their clients. A coach is someone who is working with you as a collaborator, and someone who is invested in your future. So, if a client's coming to me trying to figure out why they keep dating the same people, coaching consists of a lot of open-ended questions. So, um, with that, I would start asking someone like, "What's your dating history like?" Right. So starting with just these open-ended questions, to help people start kind of creating a map towards figuring things out. So, like a great example that I like to normally use, that's not this specific example, is somebody might come to me and say, "Hey, I am trying to figure out what career I want to have with my life." I might ask them, what jobs have you had that you really enjoyed? They might answer, "Oh, I really enjoyed event planning." I'd also tell them, "Okay, so then name three people that you're still in communication with when you were doing that job." Right. And so now we not only have identified what job this person wants, but also identified three people that they still have contact with. And then the next step would usually be, okay, what's the time frame you can reach out to this person for a coffee chat, right? So when it comes to things such as polyamory or dating more than one person, then a good opening question is, what has your dating experience been like? And you could also probably answer this question for yourself. Like, you probably already have started thinking of, oh, what is my dating life like? Oh, I've dated this person, they are similar. What about those two people are similar, right? So do you see how I'm starting to like almost build a story by the answers that I will ask my clients?
Yes, indeed. What a great question. And many people enter polyamory with monogamous programming. What are the most common mononormative habits you see, and how do you help clients identify and unlearn them?
So the most common thing that I see is, um, people, one, identifying their boundaries and identifying their needs, and then lastly, navigating jealousy is a really big one. So first off, when we're talking about dating in general or dating multiple people, you must also know what do I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, starting there, so I'll ask a client, okay, what do you want? What are you looking for? Um, okay, we're asking, what boundaries do you have? So boundaries is great because it helps you identify, what do I want? What do I desire? What don't I want? What can't I do? So, for example, A boundary in dating might be like, oh, I can only see you once a week. That's a boundary, right? You
Mm-hmm.
might be able to share why or whatever the case may be. But again, coaching is about not necessarily telling you what to do, but helping you access the answers that's already in your brain, right? So again, with like something like jealousy, it's like, okay, what are you feeling outside of jealousy? Jealousy is a secondary emotion, which means that it is in response to something else. In my experience, I see a lot of people who are experiencing jealousy might be actually wanting more time with their partner. They might be, maybe dealing with their own issues, right? They might, the biggest thing that I get from people who are struggling with jealousy is realizing that they are desiring something that they're not receiving, right? Jealousy is not a bad thing, it's something we all experience. So once you identify what you're actually feeling, then you're able to say, hey, boyfriend, girlfriend, they friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm not getting enough of this. Can we talk about that, right? So now you
Yes.
see how like jealousy is not seen as a bad thing, but it's seen as a what's actually happening beneath the surface. And that's when you start making big changes in your relationship life, your dating life, because you're not just being jealous and saying, I'm jealous. I need more time with you. You're saying, oh, what's happening for me? And how can I communicate this to my partner? You see?
Mm-hmm. And how do you help clients differentiate between a genuine attraction or connection and a dating habit that is based on filling a void or seeking validation?
That's a really good question, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that I always ask clients is, what's your why? Why are you dating? What are you looking for? Right? Sometimes I'll get answers that's like, oh, I'm very lonely. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What does loneliness feel like to you? What does it look like for you? Right? What has your experience been with dating people so you don't feel lonely? Right? And then
Yes.
people start saying, oh, why am I just feeling this hole? And I'll ask you, okay, what's making you feel this hole? Like the thing about coaching is that we already know why. We know the answers. It's just often we don't want to admit them because admitting them is hard. It's hard to say, dang, I just date people because I'm lonely, or dang, I do this thing that's really unhealthy. But at the end of the day, you know that you're doing it and you likely know your why. Sometimes you just need to be challenged to be asked that question by someone else, right? And I feel like that's the beauty in coaching, right? It helps you be honest with yourself, right? So again, why are you dating this way? What does it look like for you to date from a point of curiosity or from a place of I want to find the love of my life or a partner, right? What's your why?
Yes.
Why might look like I'm in a place right now where I want to build my relationships. I'm not necessarily looking for someone to marry, but like maybe someone to be around. That's a why. And that why is valid and important too.
That's the why indeed. And what role does a coach play in helping someone uncover their attachment style in a
Ooh,
multi partner context? And how
yeah.
is that different from a monogamous
Hmm.
therapy?
At- Attachment styles, in my understanding, is something that can shift over time, right? Like we all have maybe access to Google or something that will help us figure out our attachment style. Where a coach will come in would be more of helping you identify how does this attachment style show up in your relationships, right? So when we're thinking even about polyamory versus monogamy, at the end of the day, we're talking about people who want to date people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so um, a coach will ask about what ways do your dating style come up that's positive? What ways might it come up that's negative, right? What
Yes.
ways does it come out that you want to improve upon? So it's like you have the information, baseline, you have the information. The coach will help you jump and dive into the why. What's happening? Why am I doing this? Yes, we can look up what your relationship, your attachment style is. That's information, but let's dig deeper and figure out what ways you show up with this attachment style. And then what maybe variables have shifted your attachment styles, right? You can go from being having a secure attachment to avoidant attachment. What happened in between you being secure and you being avoidant, right? And now we know, okay, this makes me feel avoidant in my relationships, right? Okay, so like I'm just gonna restate this in a different way. Okay, in this relationship, I feel very secure. I have a secure attachment style, but in this other relationship, I have a avoidant attachment style. So let's talk about what makes you feel avoidant in that relationship. Okay, I feel avoiding that relationship because when I bring up something, I'm always shut down, or this person always gets mad at me, right? Now we
Hmm.
understand, like, okay, my attachment style is shifting with this other relationship because of X. And then once you have that information, you can re-examine to yourself: do I want to be with somebody who makes me feel avoidant? Do I want to be with someone who makes me go from feeling secure to insecure, right? That's how a coach can help.
Indeed, interesting answer on navigating jealousy, communication, and boundaries.
Mhm.
Jealousy is often a magnifying glass on our insecurities.
Absolutely.
How do you guide clients to use jealousy not as a signal to shut down, but as a tool to understanding the deeper needs and dating triggers?
Absolutely. So I run a 6-week cohort titled Thriving in Polyamory. It's a virtual cohort. We meet every Saturday. We're going to meet in about an hour. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and on week 3, which is next week, we talk about jealousy and conflict. And so we talk a lot about how, again, jealousy is a secondary emotion. So think of an iceberg. At the top of the iceberg is jealousy. I'm mad. I'm feeling this, right? But when with me, we talk about what's actually happening. What else are you feeling, right? So like, you might be feeling embarrassed. You might be feeling left out. You might be feeling all of these other things. So what I like to start with is, what are you actually feeling? What's making
Mm-hmm.
you feel that way, right? So now we went from just looking at iceberg to digging beneath that surface and looking at the big piece of ice underneath that really destroys relationships, right? It's being aware of what's actually happening, and then you take that information and then you do what you want with it. For me, when I'm feeling jealous, I say, okay, is this a me thing or is this a them thing? Did they do something that broke my trust? No. Okay. What am I feeling? Oh, I want more time with my partner, or my partner's going on super cute dates and we haven't been on a super cute date in a while. Maybe I'm wanting that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that can be a conversation where I go to my partner and say, "Hey, like I'd love to go on like some super cute dates with you soon." Right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about the other person. It's about what's happening in your relationship. So identifying what's happening is big, because then you can do something with it. You can communicate it. You can say, "Oh, I've just been tripping. I'm just jealous. Let me, I'm just feeling insecure and I'm going to work on my insecurity because my partner did nothing wrong." So I think a big question is, what did they do? Did they do something that we didn't agree upon? Or am I having some other feelings? Okay, what are those feelings? Okay, what do I want to do with them next? Right? Again, think of jealousy as an iceberg.
Iceberg indeed. And you need to what? Melt the iceberg or
Well, you gotta do something with it, okay?
we need to melt the iceberg or preserve the iceberg itself. I think we need to preserve the iceberg because we need it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
What?
Because this is all information you're
Mm-hmm.
finding out, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
I have this iceberg of jealousy, and now from that experience, I understand myself more. So when that happens again, because jealousy isn't a one-time emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm
Yes.
feeling something, 5 years from now, I'll be like, wait, I solved this iceberg. I remember a time when I felt this exact way, and things ended up being okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of your memories still live in you. All of your feelings still live in you, right? So accessing them is important. Accessing those memories, accessing that preserved iceberg is really important too.
Definitely. Yeah. And what are the specific communication frameworks you teach that help people articulate their complex needs and boundaries to multiple partners effectively?
First thing I always teach is curiosity. Without curiosity, you are not approaching a conversation um, with the hope to understand your partner, right? When we have conversations with people, whether it's our partners, our friends, our families, we should be coming from a place where, like, yes, we want to share what happened for us, but like, we need to be curious enough to understand what happened for them and to take that as information or input data towards, you know, what you're feeling, right? So that's the first thing, curiosity. Because especially as poly people, there's a lot of things happening. There are a lot of things happening at once, right? And starting from a place where you have your boundaries. So your boundaries is, what do I want? What do I need? What do I desire? You have agreements, which is a collaboration between you and a partner. What do we want? What do we desire? What don't we want? What are we agreeing on? Right. And so those are foundational points to the way you practice. That's foundational points to the way everyone should be practicing relationships in general. Where are my boundaries? What agreements do I have with this person? Okay. Now we're having a conflict. Okay. So let me check what we agreed upon. Let me check what my boundaries are and help that be the foundation to your relationship. That with some curiosity, look, y'all gonna solve every problem y'all have, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you know yourself. You know what you agree to, what you need. Your partner knows themselves. They know what they
Yes.
agreed to. They know what you all agreed to, and they have a good understanding of their emotions and what's happening for them. So that's how I see it. That's the framework I like to use. So it
Yes.
builds off of each other. Boundaries, agreements, curiosity, you know, what's happening for me.
Boundaries, boundaries indeed. You need to establish your boundaries, people, so that you have a smooth and well long lasting relationship. Is
Absolutely.
it long lasting?
Yeah.
Through thick and thin.
Yes.
So tell us, what are your short term and long term goals? Make
Ooh.
Zipporah.
Yeah. My short term goals is to continue building a community of people who want to take charge of their lives. That's
Mm-hmm.
short term. Like, just, and this is even like getting new clients. Like, I want to develop a strong foundation audience of people who are doers and who are trying to make sure that people in their life are doers, so that like we can change our lives. Like, that's the small goal. The big goal is to I have a lot of big goals. One big goal though is to offer my programs and organizations with similar values as me. So um, that's big because I want to support especially LGBT people and BIPOC people, marginalized people. These are groups of people who don't get access to coaching in the same way that people with privilege and power do. So, for example, a lot of people think of coaching, when a lot of people think of coaching, they think of executive leadership coaching, right? This is a level of coaching that is usually in corporations, usually for people who have a lot of money. Coaching is a great tool, but it's not often afforded to Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, queer people. Right? These are people who are not often or always in an executive leadership position. So the big goal is to get people to realize that they can take autonomy in their life. And as many people as I can help realize that and take charge of their own life, that's the big goal.
A big goal indeed. I like that big goal, and good luck to your goals. And looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Yeah. Starting with what do I need today? What do I need to get there? Identify
Mm-hmm.
what your goals are. So, like, what are my goals? What's in my way? What maybe let me back up. What's my goals? What's in my way, and then what are steps towards it, right? Because once you know what your goal is, then you know what's in your way, what's your barrier. Once you identify that barrier, then you can start thinking about how do I get around that barrier, right? So those three questions will always get you started on the right foot.
To the right food. And thank you for that advice.
Mm. Yes, thank you. Thank you for
Miss
having me.
Zipporah, yes. And tell us, what is the most common aha moment your clients have about their own dating habits once they have the structured
Uh,
space to reflect with the guide?
the way the one of the most common aha moments is that they realize that they are repeating patterns that they learned when they were kids, or patterns that they didn't like that their parents did or their family members did, and realizing that some of those patterns are dug really deep inside of them, and they also exhibit those patterns. So again, they identify it, and then they say, what am I going to do about this? That's when
Mm-hmm.
tangible change happens.
Definitely. And before we wrap up our discussion today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, a movie 101 review, music 101 our fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in its second season. I'm a baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So tell us, last but not the least, ultimately, how does the understanding gain from this work not just transform someone's dating's life, but their entire approach to communication, empathy, and personal responsibility?
Yeah, it's a great responsibility, but it's a great reward. When we're talking about helping people identify, maybe not great practices or whatever the case may be, but just to see tangible change happen is a beautiful and rewarding gift that I receive back from my clients.
Yes, Zipporah. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your coaching, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, the big thing right now that I'm working towards is just again building a group of people who are interested and invested in themselves enough to um, just take charge of their lives. The best way to become part of this community is following me on social media, on TikTok and on Instagram, um, within me coaching at within me coaching. So join us, talk with us. I offer 30-minute free discovery calls as well. Let's get to work.
Yes, let's get to work. Let's support make Zipporah Jarmon, because if you support for sure more and more empowering coaching like this to come. So, Miss Zipporah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This was great.
More to come, people. See you soon.